Yo, what's going on everybody? My name is Braxophone, and today we're going to be taking another in-depth look at another Genshin Impact character. In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the free-to-play character Lisa and discussing everything about her, all of her abilities, elemental damage, DPS optimization, constellations, and where Lisa fits in a team composition. We will not be discussing builds for her just yet, as I don't want to give any false information, and I do not currently have the artifacts that I want to showcase for you guys. But over the next few days, I will be releasing some more Lisa content, so if you want to see some cool builds, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when I have more Lisa content out. So let's get right into it. Lisa is an incredibly powerful free-to-play character and is severely underrated. She is a tall character model like Jean, which means she traverses land faster than other characters. She's an electro medium range caster, meaning she uses elemental ranged attacks, so physical damage artifacts are useless on her, as she only hits electro damage. Examining her stats now, it looks like she has a very low base defense and HP, which means she is very squishy and will get pummeled by hard-hitting attacks. Her base attack is decent though, and her elemental mastery is where she really shines. As usual, we did do some DPS testing, but before we get into that, I do want to look at Lisa's abilities. If you're less interested in Lisa's abilities and more interested in the DPS testing, you can go ahead and skip to the timestamp in the description below. Lisa's first ability is called Lightning Touch, which is her normal attack. It combos with up to 4 hits and has a charged attack option. And as per usual with all characters, there's a plunging attack as well. If you look on the right, you'll see that all my skills are level 1, so all of these stats will be their base stats. At first glance, these hit numbers do look fairly low, however, when you level up Lightning Touch, you'll see that they scale very well and that she gets pretty powerful. Her charged attack damage is very strong though, coming in at 177% without any upgrades to the skill. The main downside of her charged attack is that it does cost 50 stamina to use. On upgrade of Lightning Touch, everything will upgrade except for the stamina cost. The stamina cost for charged attack is always going to remain 50. Lisa's elemental skill and E skill is Violet Arc. On quick press / non-charge, it releases a homing lightning orb which does electro damage. Upon hit for the orb, it will splash and give enemies stacks of conductive, which max out at 3 stacks. If you charge Lisa's E ability, it creates an AoE where lightning is called down from the heavens, strikes everyone for a decent amount of damage. Damage for this increases depending on the amount of shock stacks applied to enemies previously. While the cooldown for Violet Arc is fairly long, the damage is crazy high. With 0 conductive stacks at level 1, this does 320% damage on charged attack, but if you have 3 stacks, it is going to do near 500% damage, which is absolutely insane. Upon level up, all damage increases, but the cooldowns remain the same. Lisa's elemental burst Lightning Rose is also incredibly strong. On cast, this ability begins ticking damage over time, which at level 1 is 36.6% and lasts for 15 seconds. On cast, this ability also does a knockback, and with every tick of damage also knocks enemies back from the center. On level up, only the discharge damage increases. Moving on to Lisa's 3 passives, the first one is Induced Aftershock. This makes it so hits by charged attacks apply Violet Arc's shock status to enemies, which is ultimately very strong. Who doesn't love more crowd control? The next ability is Static Electricity Field, which makes it so enemies hit by Lightning Rose have their defense decreased by 15% for 10 seconds, which is a massive window of opportunity to deal some damage. General Pharmaceutics is Lisa's 3rd passive ability and gives her a 20% chance to restore a portion of materials used to craft potions. With the ability discussion out of the way, now we can move on to the DPS testing so that way we can find her best rotation. Despite my damage numbers you'll see in the video, Lisa is incredibly strong when kitted with the right artifacts. As of making this video, only one of my artifacts is level 16 and the rest are 8 and below, so my damage numbers don't reflect her actual damage potential, but they do reflect what combo would yield the highest DPS. And for fairness sake, I am making sure to remove all critical hits from the combinations we're testing and replace them with normal hits for the most fair DPS, because crits are RNG and I don't want that skewing any numbers. Lisa's normal attack is a 4-hit combo, so the first combination we tested is 1, 2, 3, 4. This combination was performed twice and the execution took about 4.6 seconds, which left us with a DPS of 624.8. The next combination we tried is 1, 2, 3 dash to cancel the 4th cast to get right back into the combo again. This combination was performed 3 times and the time taken was 5.3 seconds, which left us with a DPS of 555.3. This is just slightly lower than finishing the 1, 2, 3, 4 combo, so I don't think dashing to animation cancel is going to be strong on any combination. The next combination we tried involves her charged attack. We did a 1, 2, 3 charged attack combination. We did 2 of them and it took 5.46 seconds, which left us with a DPS of 898.2. This is significantly higher than the first two combos we tested, so that leads me to believe that the charged attack is going to be the bread and butter of this character. We followed up the 1-2-3 charged attack test with a 1-2 charged attack test. We performed this combination 2 times over the time span of 4.3 seconds, and it gave us a DPS of 975.3. This one was particularly interesting to me because I know that on almost every character in the game, your second attack does less damage than your first attack. As it turns out, the animation is just so fast that you're sneaking in an extra hit and it increases DPS just barely. And lastly, we tested 1 into charged attack combination. We did that 2 times over the span of 3.7 seconds and we got a DPS of 972.4, which is actually less than the 1-2 charged. But they're so close that it honestly doesn't really make a difference. It all depends on if you're being attacked at that moment and if you need to step out, because you don't want to get hit on Lisa, you will die very fast. Now that we've looked at all the different DPS numbers we got for Lisa, we can talk about the results. Of the combinations we tested, it looks like 1-2 charged attack is the highest DPS output. However, it looks like the main thing you want to keep in mind when playing Lisa is that you should just use your charged attack as much as possible. Because the charged attack costs stamina, you don't actually want to sprint and animation cancel anything, because if you're going to be spamming charged attack for massive damage, you don't want to not be able to dodge an attack coming your way. To really master Lisa, you have to get a hold of stamina management, which just means that you have to be paying attention to your stamina bar at all times when you're fighting things, so that way you don't get rolled. A cool tech you can use to open fights with is to use charged attack, E-skill, and charge again to apply max conductive stacks and to get a quick burst of damage. Let's go ahead and move on to constellations though, because there's some pretty cool stuff here. We're going to talk about which ones are worth pulling extra Lisas for and which ones are actually busted. The first constellation is Infinite Circuit, which makes it so she regenerates 2 energy for every enemy in the radius of Violet Arc when it's released from the charge attack variant. The amount of energy you can gain from this caps out at 10. This constellation is actually an energy bonus. It gives you 10 energy on top of whatever other energy you would have gotten from using that attack generally. So just think about it as 10 energy bonus. It's pretty okay. Electromagnetic Field is Constellation 2, and it makes it so that when you're holding Violet Arc, it has the following effects. Increases defense by 25% and increases Lisa's resistance to interruption. This will make it so you have an easier time trying to cast the charged Violet Arc. In my opinion, a fairly weak constellation. Resonant Thunder increases the level of Lightning Rose by 3, just a blanket buff to her ultimate ability. It's pretty good. Plasma Eruption is the 4th constellation, and this one's pretty dang strong. Increases the number of lightning bolts released by Lightning Rose, her elemental burst, by 1 to 3. This just means more damage from her elemental burst, and we love damage. Electrocute is Constellation 5, and this is probably one of the best ones just because it increases Violet Arc by 3 levels, and Violet Arc is so dang powerful. Keep in mind this doesn't just apply to the charged Violet Arc, it also applies to the electric orbs you can throw. Constellation 6 is absolutely busted and called Pulsating Witch. Whenever Lisa takes the field, aka when you swap off another character and Lisa enters the field, she applies 3 stacks of Violet Arc shock status onto nearby enemies. This is pretty spammable since it's only a 5-second cooldown. You can basically just switch into Lisa, do your charged attack or your Violet Arc or whatever you want to do, and then switch off immediately, and everyone will still have the shock status, which is just pretty dang strong. Ultimately, to me, it does look like Constellations 5 and 6 are the strongest. However, all of the rest of them are just blanket buffs, so can't really complain there. The next thing we're going to do is discuss where she fits into a team composition. Because she's an Electro user, she greatly benefits from the double Electro Elemental Resonance, but there is nothing wrong with going double Pyro, as the 25% bonus is great too. You just won't be able to spam Lisa's burst that often. Speaking of burst, Lisa's charged attack can release an absurd amount of burst damage, which would make her a decent elemental/secondary DPS if you chose to build her that way for all of the elemental procs. Since her damage is all electric, she's always going to be doing elemental damage, which means that she benefits greatly from teams that are not focused on physical DPS. But she does benefit greatly from teams that are more focused on spamming abilities as often as possible. This also makes Lisa an incredibly strong candidate for Spiral Abyss, because at the higher floors, everything becomes near impossible to kill with just physical damage. Like I said before, I'm not going to go into specifics of building Lisa today, but you should know that she fits well as a secondary DPS or support character. You can make her your primary DPS, but I think there are just characters who do it better. Keep your eyes peeled for some build videos coming this week. I'm really excited to show you what Lisa can do. Before I let you all go, here's a quick recap. 1-2 charged attack is the best for consistent DPS. Charged elemental skill charged is going to be a great opener to get some conductive stacks on all of the enemies in front of you. In general, the charged attack does a lot of damage, so if you're just looking to poke damage, I would just use charged attacks and then move, and then charged attack and then move. But keep in mind not to spam dash too much, because then you won't be able to charge any charged attacks because they cost 50 stamina per use. Make sure to watch your stamina bar. Stamina management will be something that you have to learn for boss fights. Also, Lisa is very squishy, so she dies very easily. One final tip for you guys in playing Lisa is to make sure that your doors are locked and that your volume is down when you're climbing mountains. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are well on our way. I don't even know where we're going, bro. I just checked this morning and like we're 650 subs, and I asked for 500 like 2 days ago, and honestly, it's all just so crazy, but thank you guys so much. If we can hit 1,000, I can spam your YouTube feeds with polls and images, and that would be really cool, so we should try to get to 1,000. That would be insane. If you enjoy my Genshin Impact content and you want to see more, make sure to drop that sub down below, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to add to the conversation, feel free to leave a comment down below about Lisa, about her build, or if you just liked or disliked something about the video. Thanks everyone, have a good one.